Monday, October 13, 2014, with the salute led by Mr. O'Brien.
Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Amendola?
Yes.
Ms. Amendola?
Here.
Mr. O'Brien?
here.
Mr. Phillips?
Here.
Ms. Weitzel?
Here.
Mr. Hayes is absent.
Here.
Manager Graff? Here. And Director Tazarelli?
Here.
And I'd also like to let you know that we had an executive session held prior to the meeting regarding personnel matters with no action taken. I'll entertain a motion to approve the bill list.
So move.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? The minutes are not available for approval, so we will go into citizen comments. And if I could just remind you that citizen comments at this time are in regards to anything on the agenda item. We only have one, but is this regarding anything on the agenda? No? Okay, so then at the end, we will take the citizen comments from the citizens that have signed up. So now we'll go into administration with Deb. Would you like to elaborate?
Sure. The first item that we have on the agenda is the district court lease. The council has had a copy of that lease for their review. Basically, it's the same as the prior lease with a 3% increase. And there is a list, if you had looked in Exhibit B, of items that were repair and maintenance type items that would be attached to that lease. And my understanding is that we've already worked through a number of these items and that they'll be completed by the end of the year. A number of them require that they be completed by December 31st, and we have no issue with that. So at the October 27th meeting, we're going to be asking the council to make a motion and approve that lease agreement. If there's any questions.
No questions?
No action required this evening.
Okay, and then regarding the borough manager search, we are in the process of obviously searching for a borough manager, and the job description for advertising, we will be putting that together as well. Do I need to, we have a committee that we put together for this, working with the interim borough manager, as well as Joe Hayes, the president, myself, and Dave O'Brien.
That's correct, and you should have had by now, again, a copy of the proposed manager search process. I've done a number of these and assisted a number of municipalities to a good and successful conclusion, so we're hoping that this process will work for this borough. Basically, it involves setting up a committee, establishing the threshold qualifications, and reviewing the advertisement and making sure that the advertisement, in fact, actually seeks and recruits the best and most capable candidates who meet the threshold requirements. We do have a committee that then will review the applications in terms of whether the applicants may meet the requirements, and then we will make a recommendation to the council. Typically, we usually recommend that there's a first round interviews, and typically that round involves maybe 8 to 10 candidates, maybe less depending on the selection of the committee, and then second round interviews. I think, outline, it's not on this copy, but anyway, we outlined a sort of a time frame for.
You want to see this?
Yeah, was that December 1st, I believe? We expect that we'll take resumes and applications through December 1st, that the interviews will go on in December and the beginning of January, and that a person would be recruited and an offer be made by the 1st of February. So that's kind of the time frame. What we're asking this evening is just that the council approve the process. Obviously, we have some more work to do in terms of putting the advertisement and some of those things together for the October 27th meeting. But if you just approve the process this evening that we've outlined in our memo, then we can actually get started and the committee can meet, and then you can approve. We can have an advertisement for you on the 27th that you can approve.
So with that being said, I'll entertain a motion to approve the proposed borough manager search process.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? And now we'll move on to budget and finance. Tom, did you want to speak to this?
Manager should.
Okay.
It's that time of year when we are going to be putting a request for proposals out for our auditing services. We drafted the RFP for your review, and you should have had an opportunity to take a look at that. It would be a 3-year engagement for years 2014, 15, and 16. It's necessary for us to really make this decision by November 24th, your November 24th meeting. So we're asking that the bids be submitted to the borough no later than November 7th, 2014, at the Borough Building, 11 o'clock a.m. on Friday. In that way, you can have an opportunity to review them on the 10th at your workshop meeting, and we can make a recommendation for the November meeting. So again, because of the time-sensitive nature of this particular item, we would ask that the council approve it this evening instead of waiting until October 27th, so that we can begin to circulate. And I think we have 5 accounting firms identified that we would circulate the RFP to. So if council would be good enough to make a motion to approve the RFP and allow us to begin to circulate it so that we can have proposals in hand by November 7th.
So I'll entertain a motion to advertise an RFP for an independent auditor.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Mrs. President, may I ask a question?
Sure.
It's probably the manager knows best. Regarding proposals for the solicitor, how many have we obtained so far?
I'm not sure how many of you obtained. They went directly, I think, to the president of council. They went directly, I think, to the president of council. I don't think that they came to the borough office.
Well, I think the President Council didn't care the borough's address. We
Okay.
haven't seen any complaints.
And those are due the 17th.
Of this month?
Yes.
We don't
So
know how
that's
many we have.
Friday.
Well, with all due respect, since Joe is not here, we can't ask him the question, but we could certainly find that out.
And typically, because it's the nature of human beings, those proposals typically come in the last couple of days anyway, because everybody kind of waits to the deadline.
And did you want to speak to B and C as well?
Oh, sure. Well, B, we were asking that a resolution be prepared that would appoint a delegate and an alternate to the Southwest Allegheny County Tax Collection Committee. And again, this is not for action this evening, but we would like to appoint by position the manager and the vice president of council. In that way, if the person changes, the position, the resolution is by position, so you wouldn't have to do a new resolution.
Rather than a name.
Right, rather than naming a person in particular, if you just do the resolution with manager and vice president of council, you'd always have a representative and an alternate. So that's our recommendation for the council, but that would not be for action this evening, that would be for the 27th, if everybody is in agreement.
And I believe the resolution, if you read the one previously, it states that delegates shall be appointed each year in November or December, so this would be timely.
So it would be time for us to delegate.
It is time for you to appoint a delegate. Okay, and then C, just a couple words to the council. Tonight, we do have the proposed budget available just for the council members. I have it here with me today, and I will give it to you before you leave. I just wanted to give you sort of a high-level overview. We're entering our budget season, as most people know, and we have scheduled a series of workshops over the next month with a proposed budget adoption on December 8th. The budget this year is presented a bit differently than in past years. As I reported to council, we are showing 3 years of prior history so that you will have a real opportunity to look at line items and to see prior year trending and what we're projecting for the future. I have in this budget shown the general fund, which at this point is estimated at about $4.1 million. The sewer fund, which is at about $1.6 million, and the road tax fund, which is about $450,000. You'll also see some supplemental information at the back of the budget, which I hope will be helpful to you, because I pulled out some of the services that we typically get a lot of questions about. For instance, things in the Parks and Recreation Department, like the swimming pool revenue and expenditures, parks activity revenue and expenditures. So you'll see some supplemental information at the rear pages of the budget. And again, we hope that that'll be helpful for you. We've also pulled out a section called grants and pending and secured grants, because in prior year budgets, there was grant revenue that was actually budgeted right into the general fund, which kind of distorted the general fund, so it would look very high, maybe overestimated one year and then very low if you didn't get any grants the next year. So we've pulled out the grants. They are in a separate section at the last couple pages of the budget. We are proposing that there be no tax increase, at least at this point, but we do want to look at some fees and charges for services. I haven't had quite an opportunity to do that yet, but we're going to look at those and compare them to other communities and to the cost of providing those services and make some recommendations to you along the way. I also provided for you tonight on your desk, if you have this schedule, it kind of outlines for you and for the public, and we can put this on the website, the detailed budget workshops, what's going to happen over the next month or so. So this is, I'll go down and kind of explain where we're headed with this. This evening, I'm distributing the draft budget to council for your review so that you'll have it a week in advance of the first budget workshop. The first budget workshop is scheduled for Monday, October 20th. On that evening, we will be focusing on capital projects, because we really need to discuss what projects we're going to do out of the sewer fund, what we're going to do out of the road fund. We want to talk about the pool projects in terms of what grant funding is already secured, what grant funding still is pending, and what we might need to fill a gap if we decide to move forward on pool projects. And then there are another recreation projects. We'll also be looking at any work on facilities and any other larger capital funds. Gateway Engineers will be here that night because they have some information that they want to share with you, and that they'll be presenting on the 20th. On Monday, November 3rd, which is the next budget workshop that we'll be having, is when we will look at department expenditures. By then, you'll have had the budget for 2 or 3 weeks, so you will have had an opportunity to really look at those departments. And I did include comments, descriptions, and notes. I had met with both Rob and the police chief, and we had gotten their budget requests and their notes and their comments, so you'll see those in the budget. That evening I've invited Rob to attend, and the mayor's permission, the police chief to attend just to answer any questions relative to the actual budget in the department. So that's what's scheduled on the 3rd. On the 17th, we'll go through the entire budget. We'll have a better understanding of revenue projections. I think I have a really good, solid, conservative revenue projection in this budget, but we'll confirm those at that meeting, and then we'll have our final discussions on expenditures. The budget would be introduced on the 24th, which is a regular council meeting, and we'll do a summary and overview for the public at that meeting, and I'll have some handouts for anyone who's interested in additional information in terms of the public and press. The public inspection period is November 25th through December 8th. And then, as I said, if we need a final review, if there are still unresolved issues, which I don't expect because I think we'll have spent plenty of time and given everyone quite an opportunity to review items. If there is, we do have one final opportunity, and then we have the adoption scheduled for December 8th, which is, I think, your last meeting of the year, maybe? Yeah. Hopefully last meeting of the year. So that's the plan. I wanted everyone to be aware of what we're planning to do and when we're planning to do it, and to have anything available that you need as you go through the budget. If you have questions, please feel free to ask. Any questions will be available at the budget workshops to answer those, or at any time in between. And thank you. It's respectfully submitted by your interim management team.
Thank you. We'll move on to Parks and Recreation. We had two Recreation Board appointment seats, two seats that expired on September 30th, and we received 2 letters of continued interest from those 2 seats, which were Ms. Breeden and Ms. Cozy. We won't be taking any action at this particular meeting, but we will at our next meeting. Any questions? Moving on to Public Works. I will entertain a motion to pay Shay Cog the amount of, is that $16,891.99 or $1 million?
$1,689,000.
Okay, so it's $1,681.99. I will entertain a motion to pay Shay Cog the amount of $1,681.99 for payment number 2 and final payment for work performed by Sewer Specialty Services Company Incorporated for the Shay Cog Joint O&M Preventative Maintenance Project, Year 3, as reviewed and certified by Gateway Engineers.
Are we sure about that
I
amount?
don't think that's correct.
It's kind of low for the amount.
Look at the next page, the other page, go from Shay Cog.
$1,681.99 for payment number 2.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? I'll entertain a motion to approve Gateway Engineers authorization for services regarding the Harris Street remediation project for an amount not to exceed $4,500. Remediation.
Is that $4,500 for the inspection?
Yes, that's for the engineering costs associated with the project, because I believe the contractor's taking care of the rest of it.
The new project.
Yes.
We not entertaining this motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any questions? Hearing no questions, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
No.
I didn't hear everyone, so shall we do a roll call vote?
Roll call vote. Mr. Amendola?
No.
Ms. Amendola?
Yes.
Mr. O'Brien?
Yes.
Mr. Phillips?
Yes.
Ms. White?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Moving on to public safety. In order to move forward with the fire department consolidation, our president of council has appointed Councilman Freddie Amendola as the representative for Shar West #1 Emergency Services Task Force, also known as the Steering Committee. Does anyone have anything else to add to public safety? Yes.
I'd just like to speak on one item. The new phone system, I've had complaints about how it's working down in the police department. I don't know about the borough offices. And
Is this outside people calling us or internally calling each other?
it's talking, the officers talk about when they're trying to talk to somebody, there's echoes, there's drop calls. And also, if somebody wants to call the police department to talk to an officer, generally the phone will ring. And what happens when you call the 921-2016 number, you get music.
You do, I've
I
experienced
think
that as
that's
well.
unprofessional. That, please listen to this joyous tune while we're in it. Somebody's having a problem. I don't know why it just can't ring like it did before. I don't know what can be done to remedy that, and maybe the phone company, the installers could come in and do a better job. When I call the borough office, I don't get the music, the phone rings.
And we have capabilities of changing settings, so I think before going further, maybe talk with us tomorrow, and Carissa, and she's done a lot of programming. Some phone, don't give messages, if something an announcement, there's all these different setups. So it might be something she can do to change that setting for downstairs.
Okay, and are you having any problems upstairs with calls being dropped and echoing?
Not really, sometimes it seems like it goes dead when you're talking to somebody, but they're there. Because you'll say, are you there? And they say, yeah, but it sounds like you've dropped lots of calls. So,
Well, I just think that from what we had prior, which, I understand that the phones were a million years old that were down there, but the system worked. And you brought a new system in that's not working nearly as well as the old system that was in there. So I'll have the chief contact your office tomorrow and see about maybe if they can correct that music.
Okay, moving on to the Blight and Abandonment Property Committee. Debbie, would you like to elaborate?
There's a recommendation from Gateway Engineers to accept the bid for the demolition of 13 Union Avenue, and we're recommending that we have that on the agenda for October 27th for council action unless there's any objections from council. The other properties that we had identified are not quite ready for demolition. There's some clearances that still need to be done, but the 13 Union Avenue is certainly ready for action if the council chooses to put that on the agenda for October 27th.
Can I ask a question?
I'll try to answer.
Noble Avenue situation with the print shop is, where are we on that?
That's one of the ones I think that we're still working through the legal clearances and trying to figure out exactly what we can do, when we can do it. But I don't know any details about that one.
Okay, thank you.
But when it gets to that point, when we make a decision on demolition, is there any, do we provide information on the process, the detail, as if, if anyone came to a meeting or had any questions about the process, the legal part of the process? Do we have any information that we give out to anyone, or is it public record?
There is a public process, it's a legal process that you have to follow to get the clearances. There are public notices that have to be made. There are notices to property owners or attempts to contact property owners. So yes, there are, but they should just contact the borough office, and John or the solicitor can take them through that process. So if they contact the borough office, we can help them answer those questions.
Thank you.
So based on John's manager report that he submitted to everyone under the 2014 building demolition, there are some comments regarding Noble. Okay, so, I can just announce this, right? Okay, so, civil complaint has been filed requesting order permitting borough to proceed with enforcement. The vehicles are supposed to be removed 9/15/14. The building citations have been filed for condemning the building, and a hearing at the magistrate is scheduled for October 22nd, 2014. John is not here to elaborate any additionally, but that is what he submitted in his report.
On that one comment about the vehicle be removed 9:15, that was promised to the enforcement officer, and he just followed up on that today and said, told him they were 3 weeks overdue, and he promised his 2 vehicles would be out there this week.
That's how many there are, 2 vehicles?
Right.
Anything else? Moving on to comprehensive planning.
Yes, in terms of the multi-municipal comprehensive plan, again, at the end of your budget document, you'll see the various parts that are kind of going into this. But basically, there was a request to the county for planning money. There is a request to the local government academy and a request to the Department of Community and Economic Development. And they're all pending at this point, although the county has indicated that there's a very good chance that we will get the county plan. Or the county money for the plan. What the county had requested was that we put together a scope for basically an RFP to consultants to see what the cost of that plan would be. And John worked with the county to pull together that scope. It was in your copy, and the whole scope of work is shown here. Ingram is also looking at this evening. So what we're asking the council to do this evening is to just approve the scope of work. And Ingram will be reviewing and approving the same scope of work. What that will do is allow us to put the scope out to the consultants, get some pricing. Once we get the pricing, we can go back to the county and to DCED. Now, the bad news is that the LGA grant application was denied. I'm not sure, I think John's trying to do some investigation to see why that was denied.
I can read it to you.
Oh, okay.
We were very enthusiastic about the desire of the 3 municipalities to update and complete a new multi-municipal plan. However, we recommend that you resubmit this proposal after Crafton has completed its management reorganization.
Okay. So we still have an opportunity to go back in for additional funding.
We have the perfect people in position to, the interim manager and Devin Grass they're experts at this. I don't get that.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Isn't that what John mainly does is?
We don't have any insight into the decision-making. We're not sure exactly what went into it. Again, we do have an opportunity to resubmit, and that's good news. It looks like the county, what's pending with the county is about $60,000. The request to DCED will probably be around $35,000, and again, I have it kind of outlined at in the budget document for a 2015 project. But yeah, that would have been, with the 2 boroughs participating, that would have been another $17,000. So I would definitely recommend that we go back in and try to, at the next round, try to obtain additional funds. I believe they're grant opportunities are kind of May and October, I think twice a year. They do take planning grants, they usually announce those, so we may have another opportunity, should have another opportunity in 2015.
The letter that April read, was that, that grant, was it applied for by whom? Not by you, right? It was for previously. So
It
do you
was-
think that they don't know that we have someone interim?